Hey, welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, and spoiler alert, because this is a recap of The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 5. I'm a blind film critic, and this airs with audio description on HBo Max. So, cool, right? Yeah, so I love The Last of Us, I do. I know I'm really hard on it, but every episode they've created so far has been great. But we're also only 5 episodes in. So I just foresee the problem. I know that after a while it's gonna get old. Of being like, oh, they found new people who are all gonna die. Congratulations. I know that there's, to some extent, that there's a lot of things they're pulling from the video game, but I have heard that they've made some deviations from the video game. They need to start deviating how long people live from the video game, because, again, we're at episode 5, and lo and behold, guess who the only 2 people are who are still alive? The 2 people who can't die. There are no stakes in this game. You know, it's just like waiting for, it's like watching Saw or Hostel at this point. You know what I'm saying? You're like watching it for the kills. Like you're just waiting to see how someone dies. Like when are they gonna die? And like what the show is good at is getting you emotionally attached to somebody in a short period of time. I would argue though that I was not emotionally attached to Henry. I was emotionally attached to Sam because he's a child. That's really the only reason. Generally, we don't want to see kids die in things, so he pretty much put a kid on screen, and we're immediately like, somebody protect the kid, you know. Although Melanie Linsky's character, her take on child death was surprisingly sobering. She was like, kids die. I was like, I mean, yeah, so do people. But you're out here rallying around because people died. You're angry about that. So, you know, I don't know what your I don't know what your point is. I mean, you're out here seeking vengeance because people died, like adults. Yeah, people die, kids die, adults die. That happens. Thank you for your stunning point of view on life. It's kind of stupid, but I mean, I got what her character was supposed to be saying, which was she was just supposed to let him die. You know, did you ever think about that? It's like, okay, well, how about the people, when Pedro Pascal comes crashing into town and you're all upset at him. Maybe those people were supposed to die. Maybe they had to die. You know, I don't know. They lost a gun battle. When they get into a gun battle with somebody, someone's gonna lose. You know, they fired first. So who knows? But it's just nonsense. But anyway, she died a nice and horrible death, as I knew she would. I was like, oh, I wonder if the character from Yellow Jackets is going to survive for very long in this show. I know that, the counter argument to that would be, well, Pedro Pascal is on The Mandalorian, so, and he's the lead. Yeah, but, I mean, how long does it take to shoot another season of The Mandalorian? I mean, we're just finally starting, basically as soon as The Last of Us is ending, or actually there might even be a little bit of an overlap, is when The Mandalorian Season 3 premieres. So he can easily cycle through, like shooting, he shoots one on this year, one the next year, one, and just move through. Plus, we don't know if there's gonna be a 4th season of The Mandalorian. Who knows? We could get some sort of stunning, shocking announcement. I can't imagine they would want to end that show. It's like the biggest thing that they're doing right now. And Andor hasn't completely taken off yet. They haven't seen where its 2nd season will go. So I wouldn't want to lose The Mandalorian if I was Disney Plus, but who knows? This was fine. It was cool. It was nice to see them interact with a different set of characters in a different city. I didn't realize they were in Kansas City. I was like, Jesus, weren't you guys just in Boston? Like, damn, you got, like, you made it far. Congratulations. Like, Kansas City, you know, like, Boston to Kansas City, that's a while. Like, they really, they managed some distance there. I was thinking maybe like this was like Philadelphia or something. We're gonna have to wait until they get closer and closer to Wyoming. But damn, I mean, after this, what are they gonna run into? Like the mountains? Like they're gonna break out of Kansas City and drive across Kansas. There's nothing in Kansas. It's fields. Like there's. So I don't know. And anything that's out there is probably gets swept up by tornadoes, you know, and sent to Oz. So yeah, this episode's fine. It's good. That ending with the I mean, there was the foretelling because he saw the pulsating thing down in the basement and was like, oh, I'm not going down there. It's like, nope. And sort of moved away from that. So when, you know, all those zombies kept popping up, and then that huge thing, bear-sized is what it was described to us. I don't know if that's necessarily right. I don't know if bear-sized is correct, is appropriate, but I loved the you know, the idea that we were given some sort of size comparison. So even if it's not perfect, but it's close, I can imagine it's about the size of a bear. There was something about it having a large hand and being able to see a hand that really made me think this thing is a little bit bigger than that. But because they made this dramatic moment in the audio description about the hand coming out, and I'm like, I feel like this is probably a little bit bigger than a bear, but okay, we'll go with bear. Yeah, so, and it ripped that dude's head off. Cool. Not that I really cared, and I knew they were all gonna die anyway. I don't know, you know, I don't know who lies ahead of us in episode 6. All I know is the next time we meet a character, I'm gonna be like, okay, how does he die? How does she die? When? Is it this episode or next episode? Because we've been able to maintain people for 2 episodes, and that's it. So you will either survive for 1 or 2 episodes, depending on the situation. So yeah. I know, I seem very cranky towards The Last of Us, but ask yourself the question, do you want to see this show long term when you know? Imagine being in season 3 or 4 of this, and every character you've ever met who are not the main 2 characters is dead and dies quickly too, within the first 2 episodes. Is that show interesting to you? Are you excited by that show still? Do you think that show still excites you in season 3 or season 4? I think it has a longevity problem. In the beginning, it's super exciting and it's really well done and it's doing a great job. But there's just so many times you could be introduced to characters and get emotionally attached and keep having them. At a certain point, you just go, okay, so I've learned my lesson. Everyone dies. You know, it would be more surprising at this point to let someone live. But like, oh, this dude's, he made it to his 3rd episode. That. Wow, 4th episode? You know, like, that's the surprise. I mean, I guess somebody could make the argument. I don't get enough comments in my videos, but somebody could make the argument about his brother. His brother's alive. That's like, we don't know that. Like, that's part of his problem, is that he doesn't know what's going on with his brother. His brother could be dead. I mean, I didn't play the video games. If you play the video games, you might know, but he could find his brother, and his brother could be one of those giant bear things. I have no idea. So, anyway, but those are my thoughts on The Last of Us, episode 5. It had some nice moments, really great acting from Melanie Linsky. I loved her moment in her bedroom where she was talking about her childhood. That's why you call in Melanie Linsky. That's why you call her up. People who are fat shaming her, listen, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Not everybody who's fat is fat because they eat a lot of food. Some people are fat because they have just sort of different metabolisms than yours. So, last time I checked, Melanie Linsky is not morbidly obese. So I would understand the argument that it'd be unlikely for there to be somebody who's like my size, who's like 300 pounds on the show when there's like a food scarcity 20 years later. People would be like, where is he getting his food? But Melanie Linsky is not that. She is just not like rail thin, and nobody should be shaming her for that. It's just a normal body type, and it's totally achievable. As people who have tried to lose weight through exercising would know, your metabolism can be very different. So just being slightly larger than the person standing next to you does not suddenly mean that you're ineligible to be in a show about the apocalypse. Calm the fuck down. Yeah, this is a good show. She gave a great performance, and it's funny how there seemed to be an increasing amount of haters on the show for one reason or another, either because they thought Melanie Linsky was too big, or there are too many gay people already, and it's just the show's ratings keep going up. So, whatever. It's going to slowly turn into literally the next Game of Thrones when it finally hits enough, hits a ratings milestone for the network. So I'll be back next week to talk about this, but I'm going to give The Last of Us yet again an A, because it was an effective hour of television. It was really good storytelling from beginning, middle, end. And we, like I said, when I talk about the things that I foresee as problems, I foresee them as problems in the long term, not in the short term. Not in episode 5 of any series. If we were in episode 5 of any series, I wouldn't have this problem. Actually, Resident Evil was having sort of the same problem. That crappy Netflix show that got canceled after one season, pretty much everybody she ran into died. So it would have had that same problem, but I don't know that it wouldn't have been rectified in a second season because of the way that they left. Had that show been picked up for a second season, I don't know that she wouldn't have started to gather people. Anyway, an interesting thought, but that show was crap and garbage, and makes the show look even better. Go watch Resident Evil, and then if you don't like the show, go watch that Resident Evil Netflix show, and then come back and be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Anyway, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. If you're not a subscriber, why not? And I hope you do subscribe so I can see you again sometime in another review. Down the line, you never know when we might run into each other again, when you might click on my name. Could happen. Probably. I also have a website, MacMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at MacMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what is audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the adna.org, where you can look up any film or television series and see who is working on the audio description for it. This one is Roy Samuelson. I think I've given him a shout out a couple times, but yeah, this is Roy Samuelson narrating The Last of Us. So anyway, that's it for me today. I will review more things and see you on the other side.